give special address.
Yeah, good afternoon to all of you. In fact, it's a happy moment and proud moment for Madurai branch as Sri Nagappan sir has consented to address all of us. I still recall that the first meeting I had with him was in Karaikudi when Muralidharan sir arranged one program in the university actually. I just recall. And after that, we have had a lot of programs in SARC and very less in Madurai. So I thought it will be appropriate to have him address our members as to a lot of things, though we chartered accountants kind of know, but a person who is day in, day out dealing with investments, who is into stock markets, who has kind of got a 360-degree view of the investments, can help us plan things first for our own financial planning. And when with that, we can advise our clients as to how they can plan better. So we are happy to have him, and so we are eagerly to waiting to hear from you on how to manage risks effectively and create wealth, not at all times during this COVID difficult times as to whether we should change things because of this scenario which we have seen. Thank you.
Thank you. We have the COVID governor. Be available.
Sir, unmute, sir.
Sir, thank you, sir. Now I request the Secretary, C. Manimeli Madam, to introduce the speaker.
Good evening, members. A special greetings to the speaker of the day, Sri V.A. Nagappan, sir. It's my pleasure to introduce you, sir, to the Sri V.A. Nagappan, who is the founder of the Foundation for Financial Freedom and Managing Trustee of Oriental Charitable Trust. He is a gold medalist in business administration. Sri V.A. Nagappan is currently a member of Board of Studies, Madras University, Commerce Department and Economics Department. He is a vice president of HCC and has served as chairman, expert committee on economic affairs, insurance and banking, Hindustan Chamber of Commerce. He is a honorary treasurer of Vidyodaya School Society in Chennai. He is a founder member of Adyar Theosophical Academy. He has served as an independent director in Tamil Nadu Industrial Development Corporation Limited and Mobi Smart Car Technology Private Limited. He has served as a member of the high-level committee formed by Tamil Nadu government to revisit and frame policies and guidelines for disinvestment of shareholdings by SPSUs. Immediate past chairman of Securities and Timeshare Owners Welfare Association in India. So he has served as honorary secretary of Associated Chamber of Capital Markets. He has served the Board of Studies of Kalasalingam University and DG Vaishnava College. He has given many guest lectures and a visiting faculty in universities and institutions like IIM Trichy and IIT Chennai on capital market regulations and personal finance. He has served as a resource person for National Institute of Securities Market, NISM, and SEBI. He has served as member and chairman of Academic Board of MSc, Institute of Capital Market. He is a director of Madras Stock Exchange until 2012, and he is a chairman of Federation of Indian Stock Exchange 2008. He is a member of Secondary Market Advisory Committee of SEBI 2008. He has served as member of Disinvestment Committee, trustee of Settlement Guarantee Fund, and served as a member of Defaults Committee of MSME. He is a regular writer and columnist in financial dailies and business magazines on capital market regulations, personal finance, mutual funds, insurance, tax planning, business, economy, trade, commerce, taxation, commodities, currency features, and he has authored 6 books. We all have seen him in newspapers and magazines. He is very popular he is very much known to all of us. He is a Rotarian and member of Hindustan Chamber of Commerce, Indo-American Chamber of Commerce, Andhra Chamber of Commerce, Madras Management Association, Tamil Nadu Investors Association, and various trade bodies. With this introduction, I hand over the session to you, Speaker, sir.
Thank you. Anevarukkum vanakkam. I'm privileged to address the learned audience. ICA is not new to me. I have done several times in the past. In fact, last week, Saturday, I handled a session in SARC, Chennai. And last month, it was in Bangalore. So it's always a pleasure to meet the experts. But the topic of the day is not related to the capital market regulation, but something else. So, now I have to how can I, teach the teachers? So, but anyway, I'll try my level best because, see, this is in the program when we discussed about this. I sent a mail last week, requesting that if there are any specific queries, I'll be willing to, because it's a vast subject and I can handle it for 5 minutes or I can handle it for 5 days also. It's not a problem. But so I asked for specific queries, but then the reply came to me, the mail said that there are no queries. So which means my job is much easier. Now I don't know what I'm going to do for the next 2 hours. So, but still, I request you that if you have any queries related to personal finance, investments, markets, economy, or commodities market or capital markets, or you can keep posting it in the chat box. I'll try to answer it because it's better that it is a two-way communication or a dialogue than a monologue. It's very difficult to sit through the monologue for more than 20 minutes. That's why TEDx is always 20 minutes. So but what to do? In my profession too, we have to go through this CPE sometimes. So it's pleasure. Sometimes it's a pain. So if it is pleasure, I don't mind. I'll be very happy. If it is a pain, please put up with me. I had to, the moment I completed my 20 years of experience in the markets, NISM and SEBI allowed me to attend CPE instead of appearing for exams. So first, I think twice or thrice I attended the CPE, but for us, the CPE is for the whole day. It used to be for 2 days earlier, and they made it shorter one day, starting from 9 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock in the evening, in derivatives or securities operations and risk management or related subjects. But it's related to our profession. But they made it one day. But then I realized that somebody half the age is coming and taking classes to me, and then I had to sit through the whole day. So nowadays I don't go for the CPE. I appear for the exam and do that. I hope it's better that way. So in fact, I should also frankly admit that I used to regularly read the column of Mr. Jain in CS Study Circle, the newsletter, the magazine, on the Excel sheet. Learned a lot. So I'm really, once again, want to say this. I'm very happy that I'm addressing a learned audience. Now, I have a PowerPoint. I'll try to share this. But as I said, I would prefer more of a question and answer at any point of time. It can be interfered. Yeah. Before I was introduced, generally I would like to be preferred, I would like to be introduced as a stockbroker with 2 decades or 3 decades of experience and an author who has written about 6 or 7 books on derivatives and commodities market. Nothing more than that, I think. But I would like to take this time to tell about what we do in this Foundation for Financial Freedom. In fact, this is more specific to Madurai because I have a resource person stationed in Madurai. If any one of you are associated with any schools or colleges, government schools or government colleges, if you want us to come and handle a session there, it will be done completely at our cost. No need to pay the cost of the resource person or the material. And this foundation does, it conducts a 1.5 hours or 2 hours program to the teachers and to the college students on the importance of savings and financial planning, so that we can be financially independent than depending on the government. And this becomes more and more well pronounced in the of late. We are moving towards like Western countries, where the I would not. It's wrong on my part to even compare Western countries because their social security is there. Here, social security is not there for the middle class and the lower middle class. It's only there for BPL families. So there, it's better to be on your own leg. So we help them learn at a very young age the importance of finance and savings, because we have seen world over the communities who are very successful have learned about finance, investments, and savings at a very young age, which is not taught, unfortunately, in our schools. It is there are institutions like Meljol, institutions like NISM, which has got a course on pocket money, which we handle, but very few of them. It's not part of the curriculum. We teach them about a lot of the other things, but we don't teach them about how to handle finances. So that's what this trust does. And if any one of you is interested, please feel free to mail me or WhatsApp me. We'll be very happy to handle that session in Madurai. Okay. A disclaimer, because we are all regulated entities. This PowerPoint is of educative in nature and not done on a commercial basis. The examples given are to explain a concept and should not be construed as any recommendation to invest. We are not a SEBI registered investment advisors and hence consult a SEBI registered investment advisor before investing. And we thank the contributors and are grateful to the social media for some of the forward messages used for illustrative purposes only and on non-commercial basis. We may or may not have invested, own or invest in some of the investments which we are speaking about. And I request not to record this event and use it only in case if you are recording, use it only for internal records, not for circulation purposes. Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree and I'll spend the first 4 hours sharpening the axe. This is a very popular saying by one of the most popular investor in the world, but not many of us know. We know, most of us know his partner, Warren Buffett, but this was the person who said this, Charlie Munger. So if you're going to talk about managing the risks, managing the volatility, I think the preparation needs more than execution. This is what he says. In my whole life, I have known no wise people who did not read all the time, none, zero. You would be amazed at how much Warren Buffett reads and how much I read. My children laugh at me. They think I'm a book with a couple of legs sticking out. This is what Charles Munger said in his book. He's the author of the one and only book he has published, the book called Poor Charlie's Almanac. And I always say this, if at all you have a friend who, somebody wants to gift you something, ask him to give this book. It's about 9,000 rupees or 8,000 rupees. So we're going to discuss about, before we discuss about the subject of volatility and how to handle it or the market risk, let's discuss something about some basics, like smart investing and why smart investing, because it creates wealth. See, there are two ways of making money. We all know that, study well, work hard, and that's one way of making money through salaries, wages, perks, incentives, bonus. But that's not the end. You can make money, you can make out a living out of it, but will you be able to create a wealth out of it? I doubt it. The experience shows us that it's very difficult to create wealth by this model. This model doesn't work to create wealth. This model works to have a happy life, a contented life. You can live through your life and go off. But if you want to create wealth, there is something more than this. The world's most successful communities have found out this and they've been doing this. What they do? They've realized the money makes money. So that's what I call it as smart investing, because the money makes money 24/7, 7 days in a week and 365 days in a year. And that's what smart people do. Now, what's the difference? It's an automated model, and it does not need your interference if you have planned properly. Now, why is it needed more so? Because may not be applicable to your profession or my profession, where we have the CPE and we keep on learning. But generally, by and large, if you look at it, I take this opportunity to also, because you can take some key takeaways to your clients, because if I go and take a class to a student, a classroom of students of 50, it reaches out to 50 people. But when I teach, we do the train the trainers program, we teach the teachers. So when we do that, when UGC classrooms are there for the teachers or the professors, when we handle that session for about 50 or 60 professors from all over South in Madras University, I always make it a point to go there, because when I reach out to those 60 teachers, I'm not reaching out to 60 professors, I'm reaching out to probably 6,000 students at one go. So similarly, when I am going to say something, and if at all it's useful to you, if you find it useful, I'm able to reach out not to these 20, 30 or 40 chartered accountants, but I'm able to reach out to a few thousand clients of them. So the problem today is that every profession is going through a drastic change. What we learned yesterday is not applicable today. What we are learning today is not applicable tomorrow. The technology is becoming obsolete. Things change fast. The one who learned how to repair a radio cannot survive in this world today. There was a profession when I was young. at the end of my street, there was somebody making a living out of repairing a radio. Then once VCDs came, he started learning about it. Then VCRs came, he started learning about it. And then mobile phones came, he gave up. He could not make out a living because the technology changed faster and he could not learn those new technologies. So unless otherwise you learn the new technologies, it's very difficult. So you have to make money, when the going is good, and save it and invest it wisely. And see to that money works for us when we sleep. Otherwise, we have to work until we pass away. And that brings us to another quote, popular quote by Warren Buffett, which says, never depend on single income and make an investment to create a second source. When the going is good, when we are doing well, it's always better to create a second source of income. That's what our elders did by buying a house and renting it out. But today, that's also becoming tougher with a lot of changes happening post-corona. If it is a residential house, fine. But if it is going to be an office or a shop, it's going to have a problem going forward. With online e-commerce coming in, more and more demand comes for warehouses, more and more demand comes for 3-bedroom apartments or 4-bedroom apartments in places not closer to metro. So because of work from home and other things, but never. So I think it's better to create a second source of income when the going is good. And how to do that? The only way to do that is to stop buying unnecessary things, stop justifying every expense, whatever we are doing, as though it is inevitable. And and if we do that, this is if we do that, then we have to sell what we need when we need it. And don't, I mean, this is something which I have learned from our elders, that they always used to go for a chit fund. I remember, the moment the income comes, the salary comes, or they get it, first thing they do is they put it in the chit fund, and then the rest they spend. But the things are changing now. Spend now and pay later culture is slowly coming in, which may not be good going forward. So we have to be very, very careful with that, and we have to spend what is left after saving. The first expense from the income is savings. That's what we used to say. Now, where to find the money? Now, the challenge could be for some of us, where to find the money. And believe me, somebody who makes about 10,000 rupees says money is not enough. Somebody who makes 1 lakh says money is not enough. Somebody who makes 5 lakhs also says that I don't have enough money. The reason being, I remember the Parkinson's law. Work expands to fill up the time available. Similarly, expenses expand to fill up the money available. If your income goes up by 10%, your expenses automatically goes up by 10% because we start justifying every expense. So this is something which needs a psychological change up, back to basics. What I'm saying is nothing new, back to basics. Some of the smart saving basics I'll just take you through quickly. We have to, when we are young, when we are quite young, we have to prepare a financial plan and a biodata for the next 25 to 30 years. To prepare your biodata or a profile, how do you want your profile to read at the age of 50 or 55 or 60? You prepare this at the age of 20 or 25 and try to live up to it. I've seen some people doing it. My own friend, my co-author used to do that. I've seen him. And have clear goals and related timelines in mind at every stage of your life. What are all your goals and what is the money required for that, and what is the time frame you have in mind? All those things has to be jotted down. Use the Excel sheet or paper and pen and calculate it. And invest in a mix of traditional and non-traditional products. I'll touch upon this later, and on handling the risk part of it when it comes. I'll touch upon this. But there is no way of investing only in traditional investments or only in non-traditional investments. We have two sets of people in India. One set of people who don't move away from the traditional investment products. And the chances of us, those kind of people outliving the savings are quite high. The danger of outliving our savings is right now, in front of our eyes because of the medical advancements. We are going to live for much longer time than we think, but whereas our savings are not going to be there at that point of time. If you go only through traditional mode of investment. At the same time, if you go for fully non-traditional products or new products, then there is taking a higher risk, disproportionately higher risk, and your asset allocation becomes skewed. So how to balance that? I'll touch upon that when we discuss about asset allocation. I'll be giving practical examples about asset allocation with last 10 years or 12 years data. before I end this presentation. And be prepared for linear return as well as non-linear returns in short term as well as in long term. Don't go for only linear return. Be prepared for non-linear return also. Even when you go for non-traditional product, it is more so that you'll be able to get non-linear returns or negative returns sometimes, but over a longer period of time, the returns will be better, likely to be better. Have patience. This is tremendous patience is needed. Last 6 months, I am noticing not many investors in the market have patience. We call it FOMO, fear of missing out. Everybody thinks, that we have missed out a lot of opportunities. So I want to enter the market and make some money. So they enter, and they do make some money in the last 2 months or 3 months or 4 months. And they think that we call them Robin Hood investors. So they think that they are clever and they are much wiser. But sometimes I'm tempted to pity them that, this is what we call as momentum trap. Market traps by providing a lot of momentum stocks and reward you in short term and then penalize you over a longer period of time, unless otherwise we are careful. So be patient, wait for opportunity. In Tamil we say that odum in odum, something you must have heard about it. So you have to wait patiently for the right time. And if you cannot wait for the right time, there is always a methodology called, two methods available. One is SIP, another one is asset allocation. Both we are going to discuss today. Now let's do some homework. I think you're familiar with this, but anyway, for the purpose of this thing, I'll go through this. How many of us have calculated the retirement money what we need? So I think the simple method is to write down the current monthly expenses and multiply that by 12. Those are arrive at annual expenses, and add quarterly, half-yearly, and annual commitments like property tax, water tax, or other expenses. Now add this and you will arrive at your annual expense, and calculate the corpus needed to generate this income approximately at 10% per annum. Don't ask me where do we get 10%, but I'm just, for ease of calculation, I'm just saying this 10%. It could be 5%, it could be 15%, depending upon your asset allocation and term of investment. Increase the corpus to adjust for the post-tax return. Now, once you know that what is the expense, let's say that if your expense is going to be 50,000, I mean 6 lakhs per annum, at 10% return, you need 60 lakhs to generate an income of 6 lakhs. But the entire 6 lakhs is not going to be in your hand because you have to pay income tax on it. So adjust this corpus for post-tax return, which means the 6 lakhs might become 6.5 lakhs or 7 lakhs approximately. So that post-tax, it will be about 6 lakhs. So adjust it, and that is a corpus needed. It's instead of 60 lakhs, you may need 65 lakhs or 70 lakhs to generate an income of 6.5 lakhs or 7 lakhs. And increase this corpus for reduced rate of interest. Right now, the interest rate is about 5 to 5.5%. So in our calculation of 50,000 rupees per month expense or 6 lakhs per annum expense, we need a corpus of 65 lakhs or 70 lakhs. Now at 5% return, that was a 10% return. At 5% return, you have to double the investment, which means it will be about 1.4 crores. 1.3 crores to 1.4 crores is the corpus needed. And if you invest it at 5% per annum, the return you will be getting will be able to compensate with your expenses. Now you have to adjust it to the increasing prices or inflation too. So now the WPA is at 12%. And the CPA is about somewhere around 6%. On an average, if you take 6 to 7% or 8%. Now then, the corpus needed is not 1.4 crores. Probably it should be 1.6 crores or 1.8 crores. That's why we normally say that the retirement corpus needed today, I want to retire, and my annual expense is 6 lakhs. It's better to multiply it by 30 times, which is about 1.8 crores. If I have 1.8 crores today, and if I am able to park it at 5 to 5.5% return, in a fixed return instrument, then I can retire. Now, this is how it's a ballpark figure. It can vary from people to people, from requirement to requirement and everything. But this is just to make this thing simple. But that does not end there. Apart from the lowering interest rate, apart from post-tax, the tax, apart from the inflation, there is something else called new needs. 1 year back, none of us budgeted for mask in our budget. None of us budgeted for hand sanitizers. None of us budgeted for so much of soap. None of us budgeted for so many other things. So things do happen, and none of us budgeted for water 30 years back. Today, most of us are buying water in Chennai. I don't know about Madurai. So budget it for new needs. With this, you can calculate your requirement. Now, plan your retirement in teens, not when we are, at my age. It will be too late. Still, you can do it, but it's late. So that's why I say that, if I am 50 plus, let me take it to my child at least. Calculate the retirement corpus and time frame. Make note of the current net worth, where I stand now. I know where I have to go. What is my goal? What is my target? Now I know where I am standing. Now what is the gap? Do the gap analysis. And then the outcome may be shocking for some of us. That's why many of us don't do this at all. Now, way forward, the starting point is first to cover your uncertainties. Without that, there is no point in discussing about any financial planning or how to contain risk. To have to contain the risk, one of the important tools is ensuring all unknown risks or the risk expected over a period of time. So that is the starting point. For that, you need 3 policies, which we'll discuss in the next slide or the subsequent slides. Follow 100 minus age rule and go for asset allocation. Diversify in each asset class under that specific asset. Ensure tax efficiency, because we were always taught that a penny saved is a penny earned. But I remember what my father told me: a penny saved is not a penny, not only a penny earned, but the return on it year after year, every year. So it's not 1 rupee we are saving. We are also saving the return on it year after year. We are saving on it. And monitor, review, and course correct whenever needed, if needed. And always take the advice of an advisor. Now, what kind of insurance is required, when we are going to do an asset allocation and take some risk and some in traditional products, a mix of products? How to cover a risk? Basically, there are 2 risks. One risk is when I am alive. The second risk is when I am not alive. When I'm not alive, my family is put to unnecessary financial trouble. So it is better to go for a term policy, a pure term policy, where the premium is very low and the coverage is very high. Now, what is the insurance required? The coverage required is equivalent to the retirement corpus, which we discussed. For example, if my monthly expense is 50,000, the corpus needed is 1.8 crores. So my term policy should be for at least about 1.8 crores to 2 crores. So for 2 crores, I cannot go, if I am able to pay for, endowment policy, fine, no problem. But then most of us cannot afford to pay such kind of a premium for an endowment policy of 2 crores sum assured. So, and it's not very productive, or they're not giving that kind of a return which they used to give earlier. So better to go for a term policy where at low premium, you are able to get a better coverage. And this takes care of my family when I'm not there. Now, if I'm there and then there is a problem, if I fall sick, my family should not curse me that they have to keep on spending a lot of money on. So next one is a healthcare policy. These 2, particularly for practicing professionals, these are necessary. So look at this. A term policy and a healthcare policy is completely required, total essential, and each and every one of us should have it right from a very young age. And as far as possible, avoid money back policy or endowment policy or unit-linked insurance products, unless otherwise you understand the risk involved in it and the returns what it can give. Never ever go for any insurance only for tax saving purpose. Insurance is not for tax saving. Insurance is for to save our capital and say, it cannot save us also. It is to say preserve our capital. That is a policy. Otherwise, this is what will happen. We'll keep on pouring in a lot, and what we get is peanuts. So insurance is one wealth destroyer, suppose if we don't plan it properly. What are the other investment options available, broader investment options available? The first one is fixed returns. Then you have variable return. When you consider return, there is a second category of investments where there are no returns, but then the capital appreciation is the kind of a return for you. So let's look at the first one, the fixed return. In fixed return, in variable returns, you have in fixed return, you have public provident fund and fixed deposits with government companies or publicly listed companies, AAA rated bonds, RBI bond. These are all fixed return. We all know that. I think it goes without saying that this is not a guaranteed return, but it is a fixed return. Most of the cases, it is a fixed return. It is not a guaranteed return. Now, variable returns, a lot of products are there, equity linked savings scheme, basically mutual funds, stocks or commodities or forex futures and various other products. This is one set of investment products. There is another set of investment products which does not give you any return at all, but then the capital appreciates and that's a kind of a return. For example, real estate, land particularly. It does not give you any rent unless otherwise it rented out for a car park or something like that. By and large, real estate does not give you any return. Land and gold does not give you any return, but then it appreciates over a longer period of time. So this is one type of investments which we can look at. There is a third set of investments. It does not. It gives both appreciation as well as returns. If you have a flat or a house, you can rent it out, and over a longer period of time, it also appreciates. Sovereign gold bond issued by Government of India through Reserve Bank of India. Again, it appreciates over a longer period of time. It has got the potential to appreciate. It also gives you a return of 2.5% per annum, and apart from tax benefits. Then stocks, it appreciates. It also gives you a return by way of dividend. Though I don't consider dividend as a return, I mean, I think it's a capital redistribution or whatever it is. Like in mutual funds, that's what they call it. Now, apart from this, there is a set of investment purely for tax saving purpose. It may be overlapping. Some of them are public provident fund, equity linked savings scheme, national pension system. This national pension system is something, it's a 5-year-old or 6-year-old, it's become popular in the last 5-6 years, launched recently. And it's taken off like anything, except that it's got a lot of benefits, but then the amount is very small for somebody under 30% tax bracket. And it's useful only to them, but it is very small. Otherwise, it's a good product to look at. And there are products like ELS and NPS, which gives tax savings, and it also gives you a return, and it also appreciates. So all the three are possible in equity linked savings scheme and national pension system. So you can pick and choose any of this or combination of various things depending upon your age, risk profile, time frame, all those things. But the very important point here is don't delay it. You have to start. When you have to start, we always say that start yesterday. Because as you delay, this example, there are many such examples you must have come across, but anyway, I'll just quickly give you the glaring contrast between, even a 10% return. If you are investing 10,000 rupees per month, if you have started 5 years back, the corpus will be 7.8 crores. But if you have started 20 years back, it will be 76 lakhs. And, between 10% and 12%, it is the 7.8 lakhs, the 76 lakhs become 99 lakhs. And, that 99 lakhs become 1 crore 51 lakhs if it is 15%. Why 15%? The Sensex has given more than 15% return on an average for the last 30 years. If you look at compounded annual growth rate, that's why I quote 15%. So if you've invested in Sensex stocks in the same proportion, the Sensex has undergone various changes, that's a different thing. But then now Sensex funds are available. If you've invested in it in the same proportion and waited for this so many years, 20 years, the 10,000 rupees invested in that product on a monthly basis would have given you a return of 1.51 crores. And the same product, invested only 5 years earlier, for 5 years period, it will be only 8.96 lakhs. So it's such a big difference. So you have to start early. One point. Number two is you have to look at, even if it's 2% difference, it makes sense. So you have to go for asset allocation. Now, what are the challenges in this? Now, where is the money? I said that, if anyone asks me that where is the money or how to make money, I don't know. I lift my hands that I don't know how to make money. The only thing I know is how to multiply money. If somebody comes to me, and tell me that they want to learn how to make money, I tell them that I don't know, frankly, but I know how to multiply money. If you have money, give it to me, I can multiply. That's the only thing I know. Now, so how to acquire knowledge today? I don't think that's a challenge. Right from Investopedia to various educational forums are available. NSE Academy is conducting a lot of courses for college students and for investors, full-time investors, professional investors. There are people who have taken investing as a career, full-time career. They have quit jobs from KPMG or somewhere at the age of 30, 32, and they are full-time into only investing in equity markets and mutual funds and related products, with cryptocurrency and all. It's not regulated, but there are youngsters who are trying their hands in it. What to learn? I think there is no limit to what to learn. And the very important thing is theory versus practice. We can talk a lot about it, and we can learn a lot about it, and we can keep reading a lot of books about Warren Buffett or Fisher or various other cult figures in capital market. But then how do we practice is very important. How we put it to practice is very important. So I think that is where the difference comes in between the educated and somebody who is very practical in the market. This morning I was talking to someone, I was mentioning about a magazine. I was mentioning to them that traditionally, we South Indians, we are brought up by saying that you have to get first rank, you have to become excel in your studies, and that's the only way. And in the process, we don't teach our children many life skills. But if you look at the most successful communities worldwide, they've given more importance to life skills than the college education or than the other education. And those children are shining very well in the business if you look at them. So I think it is all boils down to how we put theory to practice, or how we learn from others and practice it better than them. And asset allocation and diversification is a method of de-risking yourself. It is not the best method, but it is an ideal method. Asset allocation, diversification, and SIP are not the best methods, I repeat, but they are the ideal methods of de-risking. So never borrow to invest except for buying a house, and benchmarking the return. Now this is a challenge. Most of them who come to the market, when the volatility, the risk, how to conduct, we can keep on discussing about it. Of course, we are going to touch upon that subject in a while. But then, when people come to us, I am sure that you would have come across, before we all came as advisors. In every nook and corner of the country, chartered accountants were the advisors on how to invest or where to invest. And even today, many are doing it, but due to professional other commitments, they are not able to do it. But the problem when they come is that, where do they benchmark? Most of the investors who come to us initially don't have a clue. They simply say that, sir, I want a good return. Now, what is a good return? It is a very subjective matter. For my brother, 18% is not a good return because he lends money at 24% or 21% sometimes. He used to. So for him, 18%. For me, 15% is a good return because the index itself has given only 15%. For me, 15% is a very good return. For someone, even 10% is a better return because otherwise you'll be investing in 5%, 6% in fixed return. So one has to be very clear, where do we benchmark our return? What is our benchmark return? Now the challenge happens is that when you beat the benchmark return, when I come, I want 8% to 10% return. I do get 12% return. The investor gets 12% return, but then the investor is not happy. He says that, sir, the index itself has given 15% return, whereas we have got only 12% return. Now the greediness slowly starts. You have to compare. If you are a marathon runner, you cannot compare yourself with a 100-meter, somebody who's running 100 meters. He will look faster than you, but we are running a marathon. Now 12% becomes small. That's what you expected. You got 12%, but that becomes small because you are comparing with Sensex, which has given 15% return. Now look at the second scenario where you get 15% return and you beat the Sensex also. Even then, you're not happy. The investor is not happy. He says that, sir, yes, I'm happy that we have beaten the index. But then look at that particular fund or that particular investor, he has got 18% return. Now then we have to take that kind of a risk because it's the return is proportional to the risk. Of course, not necessarily always, but most of the times. So benchmarking is very important. The moment you cross your benchmark, you have to be contented, be happy with it, and don't keep always running. So patience, I mentioned about this earlier, and it's all about decision making, the art of decision making. That's why I keep on telling, I'll be recommending a few books for those who read a lot. I think I can recommend a lot of books on behavioral finance and behavioral economics, because if market is 50% reading the annual report, which all you chartered accountants can do easily, the rest 50% is something which most of us don't understand. It's more to do with psychology and behavioral pattern of people, how they behave in different circumstances, and how they decide, on what basis they decide. Do they decide based on the facts? That's what we all feel. But most of the time, they don't decide based on the facts. The classic example I can give you is last year, March 23rd, market was crashing. The valuation was, Nifty PE was somewhere around 17 or 18. but everybody was selling, everybody was scared. And today Nifty PE is more than 30. At one point, the middle and small cap and all has gone to 40, 50 P's. So expensive, but people are buying. So if we say that when there is value, people will buy. Looking at the numbers, people, it's not happening. So people are not logical always. For a longer period of time, they are, but not in short term. And seek advice and pay for it. That's something very important, which we don't want. We don't want to pay for the advice. Unless otherwise we pay for the advice, we will not get good quality advice. Now there are a lot of SEBI registered investment advisors. They call themselves fee-only advisors. They don't distribute any product. They don't direct you even to anyone else, but they completely study you, your requirement, your risk profile, your life goals, and plan and do the financial planning for you, and then give you a proper advice and ask you to execute it. You are free to go and execute it with whomever you want. Now that's how they are called fee-only advisors, and there is a small group of people in and around Chennai also. Fee-only advisors are there. Okay, so take responsibility, never pass the buck. Don't say that CNBC TV told me to buy this or Dalal Street told me to invest in this. It is your money, your responsibility. That is something very important. Okay, and it is better to understand the real risk and plan. Now, what are the real risks? When we are talking about managing the risk, we always think about market going up and coming down. There are risks beyond that. There are a lot of risks, but the biggest risk is, when we look at ourselves in the mirror, we are the biggest risk to ourselves many times. So what are the risks? One is inflation. We don't take that into consideration. Till last year, people were thinking that inflation is never going to cross by 5.5%. But all of a sudden, it is going up to 6.5%. Now, wholesale price index inflation is 12.49% last month. Can you believe this? So that's the kind of the inflation which is happening. And if my return is going to be only 5.5%, the real rate of return is negative. I'll explain in the next slide. I think it goes without saying, the real rate of return today is negative. The second problem, the risk, is increasing cost of living, which we never factored in. We never thought we'll be buying a cup of coffee for 100 rupees in the airport or 40 rupees or 50 rupees. We never thought we'll be, we are used to buying coffee less than a rupee, some of us. Increasing new needs. I mentioned about the new needs earlier. It adds to cost of living. This is one more risk. And the other risk is decreasing rate of interest rate on fixed return products, not guaranteed return, but fixed return products. I already mentioned this. We always used to relate fixed return with safety, but today it is no more. Fixed return does not mean guaranteed return or even the safety of the capital. Except in scheduled commercial banks, you're insured up to 5 lakhs of the fixed deposit per PAN number. And increasing new risk, more and more new risk like pandemic is coming. So other new risk is job uncertainty. When I joined my job first time, I remember my boss told me that unless otherwise you're corrupt, don't worry about your job. If you're not efficient, also don't worry about your job, because if you're not efficient, you may not get your increment. That's all. Otherwise, the statutory bonus will come to your account. You will, you will never be sacked. You will be retiring in this company. I remember, but be honest. That is something. But today, nobody can say that job guarantee is gone. Job uncertainty is set in. You cannot see anybody retiring at the age of 58 or 59 today these days, if they are particularly in IT sector. The burnout happens faster. So with all this risk, we have to keep it in mind while planning the investment. But are we doing it? Now, this is this particular slide was doing rounds in the WhatsApp for quite some time. And as you could see, that this is what I was trying to explain earlier, that if the return is about 5 to 5.5%, and if you're taxed at 20% or 30%, and post-tax return is not even enough to meet the inflation rate, the inflation adjusted rate will be negative. And though it says technically that it is a fixed return, or we assume that it is a guaranteed return, practically what we get is, the value of money comes down, it's a negative rate of return. So, and we have to keep in mind the data. 75% of the fixed deposits goes into government banks. 74%, 26% goes into private sector banks. And government banks pay even lesser interest than most of the private sector banks. So this is the kind of the wealth destroyment. It is happening every year. Now, does it mean that you have to look at equity? This is the second most popular slide which is doing rounds in the market for the last 10 years almost. Starting from 2009-10 when they declared the last bonus. I think okay, they have declared another bonus now. So from 2010 onward, this is doing the last 10 years. This is doing the rounds, and it goes like this. If you for the price of one share of Wipro, was to be about 120 to 150 in 1980, and it would have been worth. I mean, what is the value? Current value will be, you will be owning 192,000 shares after accounting for all the bonuses and all the stock splits, and the market value of that share is about 2.56 lakh crores annual dividend, and 13.97 crores of market value. So roughly about 16 crores or 16.5 crores, and today it should be a little more also. Okay, is it a fact? Yes, it is a fact. But how many of us are holding? There was a news item in Economic Times which carried a particular village. I forgot the name of the village, where Aziz Premji's father, when he started the firm, it was called Western India Products. That's why it's called Wipro. And they were making oil, fats, fertilizers. They were not computer company. They were a different company. He issued shares, and most of them were holding it physical even till last known time. They were holding it physical without realizing the real value of the share. Except them, most of us would not have. Either we would not have spotted Wipro in 1980, or had you spotted it, we would have sold the moment we got the first bonus. We would have sold it to the next year, the bonus at least, to book profit, and every bonus we would have sold it. So we would not have held on to the stock for the last 30 years or 40 years. So it's easy to show such a slide and mislead the people. Why do I say misleading? The data is right; it is not wrong. But then it will be very misleading if I say that it is so easy to make money. How many of us can wait for 40 years or 30 years? And how many of us can have the capacity to spot such a good quality stock at such an early stage? When I am showing that slide, I should also show this slide. What happened to Satyam shares on one single trading day or 2 days, particularly. It fell down from 300 rupees to 7 rupees. And in a matter of 2 days, it fell down from 180 rupees to 7 rupees, and it came up later again. So this is, and you also remember stocks like ILFS or Vakrangi. For every one stock of Infosys or Wipro or Tech Mahindra or TCS or Dr. Reddy's Lab or Divi's Lab I am quoting, you can see stocks like Pentamedia Graphics, DSQ Software, Silverline Industry, Mazda Industry. And see, most of these stocks were trading at 4 digits. Okay, and NEPC, Micron, or so many companies I can keep quoting, which has become penny stocks, or not even penny stocks. Some of them have become vanishing companies today. They're not even quoted. Very difficult. You cannot even locate them. Only paper. It's not even worth the piece of paper what you are holding on hand. So you have to be careful with the stock markets also, and that's where the asset allocation comes in. Again, I'm reinforcing that. Now, what is a safe investment then? The two golden rules for safe investment, generally what we understand is that the safety of capital and a reasonable rate of return is expected out of that. Safety of capital is not required alone. So reasonable real rate of return is required. Are we getting this in the investments what we make? Where will we put our money? Let's see this. Will we invest in an asset which has not given any return in the past, which will not give us any return in the future too, which does not give any assured or guaranteed return or appreciation? And it may go up or may not go up, or in fact it can come down and volatile at times, and it's not really tax efficient. The tax benefits are not sufficient, and you don't have knowledge of that investment, or you don't understand it, and it's a bit complicated in a way. Now, most of us, the answer will be no. But most of the households in India do invest in such products. One such product is gold. It has not given any return in the past. It will not give any return in the future also, except sovereign gold bond, of course. And there is no guaranteed appreciation. It may go up. It has come down between 2011 to 2015. It has come down from 1980 to 2003, 20 long years or more than that. And it could be volatile at times. It's not tax efficient as other products. And most of us don't have the knowledge to differentiate between 18 karat gold and 22 karat gold and 24 karat gold. So, and hence it is complicated. The same thing applicable to real estate too. We do invest in real estate, but we have not understood how many of us know the complete documentation process. We just give it to an advocate and get a legal opinion and get it done, and we presume we pretend as though we have understood all the documents. How many of us know why we have a patta, why we have a chitta, why we have an adangal, why we have so many documents? What is the relevance of so many documents? No, but we pretend. So, though we say that we don't take risk and we don't invest in an asset class which we don't understand, we do invest. Why? Because we were always taught by our parents on how to handle the risk associated with this. So we don't even feel the risk about these assets. Had someone taught us how to handle the risk associated with the stock markets or mutual fund, we would have been happy and invested like a typical Gujarati or somebody else. So that is where the asset allocation comes in. For those who feel that capital market is complicated and very difficult to understand and I don't have time for it, just jot down what you're doing right from morning till evening like this. In the first column, you write down the time you get up. The second is the activity and the product needed to do that activity. If you're brushing, what is the product you're buying or using? A toothpaste, a toothbrush, a tongue cleaner, and then a soap and a shampoo and a coconut oil and a fan which you switch on after taking bath, a geyser which you are using, and the air conditioner which you are using. And when you go to office, how do you go? By a vehicle, manufacturer, and the petrol or whatever, on the way you're filling up, which company makes it. All these things write down, and write down how much you consume in a year and what is the cost of it, and multiply that by the number of years of your age. Now you will know how much you have paid them. You'll be surprised that you would have paid a few crores to some of them. A typical middle class would have paid at least to spend about 1 lakh on the activities in the morning, first 1 hour. The coffee, the sugar, the toothpaste, the tongue cleaner, or the shampoo, or the soap, or the coconut oil. These products which we use in the first 1 hour of our life, we would have spent several lakhs. Assuming that 4 to 6 people in a family, it would have been maybe 1 crore also, the first 3 hours. And you multiply that by how many years we are going to live. We are going to be guaranteed customers for many of them. As I said, there is no, these companies are, I'm not saying that these companies are good to invest and all. I'm just giving an example that how these companies have integrated well with us on a day-to-day basis. We are spending a lot of money on them. And, we make them rich. We have made them what they are today. These companies owe each and every penny to us. It is us who made them richer. If they say that, they claim that market cap is of, 100 crores or 1,000 crores or 5,000 crores, it is because of us. Because we spend money, because we bought their products, they made those profits and they built these companies. But how many of us own these companies? We make them richer. They became rich because of us, but we are not part of that wealth creation. And because we say that we don't understand these products, what expertise we need to understand these products? I don't think we need just to look around what we are consuming, what we are using, what we are doing. Every activity of it, just look around. Just look around. Just look around. The toilet. What is there in the toilet? What is there in the living room? Just look around. And you will be amazed that, I am the reason for making these companies multinational, companies rich. I am responsible for their market cap, but I am not part of that market cap. I'm not sharing their wealth. What do I do? Unless otherwise you become a partner and invest in them. It's not possible. If you think that we are working for someone, we are all working for these companies. Just an example to show that, a company which most of us ignored when they came out with the public issue at 90 rupees. Most of us want our money to be parked in this the number one nationalized bank, public sector bank, because it is very safe. But most of us didn't apply for the share when they came out for, at 90 rupees per share. And after so many splits and all, where it stands today. And with more than 12,000 branches, it is one of the world's largest banking network. It goes without saying, and the FIs have realized it. And you look at India's largest private sector bank today, is not owned by Indians. 75% of that bank, the India's largest private sector bank, is owned by FIs. That's a sad news, saddest part of it, because the FIs know about Indians. They trust each and every Indian. They know that each and every Indian studies very well, he works very hard, and then he gets a job, and he takes a personal loan, pays it promptly. He buys a house, takes a home loan and pays the EMI promptly, and he buys a vehicle, takes a vehicle loan and pays the EMI promptly. And the entire life, we all work and pay the EMI, and the bank profits. So better to buy the bank. So that's what FIs have done. Sadly, the private sector bank owned by Indians have become owned by foreigners today. It's happening to a few other banks too. Now, what is wrong with the way we save? Two main things. Most of the savings is poor inflation fighters, and they're not tax efficient. And what our saving habits are not disciplined and systematic in approach. It's very erratic, it's mood dependent. Only when we have time, we think about it. We don't think about it in an Excel sheet format, a template basis. It is better that we think about it in a template basis. And because of which we face the possibility of outliving our savings due to medical advancements. And the challenge is the crowd mindset. We all do what everyone else is doing. We don't want to do something, one of our neighbor, one of our friend, one of my colleague, if he's taken it, the first, if somebody says something, invest in this product, the first question we ask is that, have you invested in it? If he says there is a nice ad called Kumar Sir by SEBI, just Google Kumar Sir ad by SEBI. Then it says, somebody says that it talks about the interesting investment product and says Kumar Sir has invested. That guy goes home and tells his wife that is a very good product. I heard Kumar Sir has invested. And the wife goes and tells the servant maid, neighbor, that the Kumar Sir has invested. It seems to be a good product. My husband told me the Kumar Sir has invested. And the neighbor goes and tells the servant maid asks, who is this Kumar Sir? Nobody knows who is the Kumar Sir. And we keep investing. So the crowd mindset is like that we all invest where everyone else is investing, basically because when we fall down, we don't want to fall alone. Because when we fall alone, people laugh at us. So it is better all of us fall down, we pull everyone else along with us. We are happy. So that's not going to work. If you're going to do what so far we've been doing, it's not going to work. So we have to think different. Look at this. You're all we're all from same place. We hail from same place. I'm from Chennai, and you're all from Madurai and around Madurai. So look at this kind of a wealth creation which has happened 150 years back or 100 years back. How this kind of wealth creation happened? How these kind of mansions were built from money made from abroad, not from investing in one particular asset class. It is from investing in various asset class, diversification. A little bit in gold, a little bit in fixed return instruments, a little bit in real estate, a little bit in land, agricultural land, where it brings in food, hedge against inflation, and a little bit in charity. Charity is supposed to be an investment in some communities. So that is one. So this kind of the diversified asset allocation has happened. Markets are volatile. Yes, it goes non-linear return. It goes up, it comes down. But the biggest risk in life is not taking risk. And believe me, in India, every bad news is a good news. I'll substantiate this. It's not a simple statement which I'm making. I'll substantiate this. In 1988, when the global financial crisis, the first global meltdown after 1932 happened, there was a book released, Global Depression and all, but nothing happened. Within 4 years, the world economy revived and Indian economy revived. In 92, the Sensex went up to 4,500 from 1,200 or 2,000. It doubled within 3 months between January and March, April 1992. And then it crashed in May. From there, again, it went up in 94. It crashed in 95. Again, in 2000, it went up. It crashed in 2001. It went up in 2007, 4, 5, 6, 7. It went up. It crashed in 2008. In 2008, the market crashed by about 64%, if I'm right. And 2009, the market went up by 79%. That's the beauty of Indian market. Every bad news is a good news. As recent as, if you look at demonetization, 2016, November and December, people thought India is gone. I mean, see, politics is different. You may take political side, you may like a party, you may not like a party, but look at India, remove the politics. India has grown the last 3 decades or 4 decades, decade after decade. I always say that not because of politicians, but in spite of politicians. So the market will go up. The Indian economy will do very well because of its demographic profile and the demographic dividend. A good political leader can speed up this process like PVN did in early 90s. A good political leader can speed up the process and accelerate it. That can happen. So in India, the 2016 post demonetization, and during demonetization, State Bank of India was quoting at 150 rupees. Within 1.5 years, it became 300 rupees. It doubled. I'm not even quoting a fancy stock. I'm quoting a dull stock, which is not a fancy stock. Okay. It doubled. It gave 100% return in about 1.5-2 years period. So that is the kind of the potential market has got in India. It may sound cynical, but it is not. Every bad news is a good news. Even when the pandemic struck last year, Sensex was 26,000 and odd. Today it is 52,000 and odd. It has doubled. The broader Sensex has given, Nifty has given 100% return in the last 1 year. So that's the kind of keep always remember this. Every bad news is a good news, and every dip is an opportunity to buy. And there are 2 methods of handling this volatility. If you're not very comfortable with volatility, there are 2 methods of handling this volatility. We say that make trend your friend. One such way of making trend your friend is SIP. The other one is, as I mentioned earlier, asset allocation. Now people ask me that whether SIP works in a falling market or in a rising market or in a volatile market. This example shows you clearly that it works almost in all markets, provided the duration is a little longer. Okay. Now, if you look at the third column, the rising market, it gives a scenario in the rising market. If you are investing 10,000 rupees every month for the next 6 months, starting with an NAV of 10 rupees, it steadily goes up to 10.5, 12 rupees, 14 rupees, 17, 18. And the units allotted gets reduced because it's a rising market, unit price is higher, but you're investing the same 10,000 rupees. So the number of units allotted gets reduced from 1,000 to 952, 833, 714, 588, 555. Now what happens at the end of the 6 months? The average purchase NAV is 13.58, and average cost per unit is only 12.92. Okay. So there is a difference which is positive. In a falling market, you start investing at 10 rupees NAV, it becomes 975, 9 rupees, 7 rupees, 6.56. I mean, total is 48.25. Now the average purchase NAV is 8.05, whereas your cost is 7.72. Okay. Now in the volatile market, the same way, it goes up, comes down, goes up, comes down. Your cost is 10.69, whereas the average NAV is 10.83. So in every market, it works over a longer period of time. That's why we keep telling that when somebody wants to invest lump sum in a market, it is always better to go for a fixed return product where you get a return, monthly return, and invest only the return into the market. That's where you can protect your capital, and return alone is invested in the market. You get that beta or not the alpha return, whatever it is. The second method, which I prescribed earlier, is asset allocation. If you have, you invest 50% of your investment into fixed return instrument, another 50% into variable return or volatile or risky asset class. Let's assume in this example, at the end of the year, the risky asset class is appreciated by 5%, which will make the deposit automatically 45%. Now you remove 5% from the fixed return stocks by selling the stocks and put it as fixed deposit. By doing this, you are selling the stock when the stock prices are going up and putting it in a fixed deposit. Now, what if the reverse happened and fixed deposit goes to 55% and stocks are 45%? You will remove 5% from fixed deposit and invest it into stocks. And when are you investing in stocks? You are investing in stocks when the stocks have fallen down by 5%. So you are investing cheaper, you are selling higher. This is like a self-control, and this is how it works out beautifully. I can explain with practical examples going forward. Now, this is the kind of the return. It's a little dated slide, but then it gives you overall most part of the time, here, if you look at 10-year period, 20-year period, 30-year period, the number of times the index has gone up is much more than the number of times the Sensex or Nifty has come down. Okay. And okay, there could be a wrong entry point if you have entered on January 21, 2008, the Sensex was 21,000. But it came down to 7,967, or 8,500 in 2008. So, I mean, wrong entry exit points could be there in short term, but in long term, it is different. Now, how FD rates and Sensex moved? This slide gives you from 1991-92, the interest rate was 12%. I don't know how many of you remember banks were paying 12% or even slightly more than that. And they were lending at 18% to 24%, I remember. So, and the kind of the return Sensex gave was 258%. But next year you look at it, FD gave 11% return, whereas Sensex negative 48%. And 93-94, FD rate is 10%, whereas Sensex gave 63.54% positive. So, fixed deposit gives a steady return, whereas the Sensex gives a volatile return. It has given far better return. 20 times the return of fixed deposit in a particular year, and negative return on a particular year. So this is how it is. You can benefit from participating in both through asset allocation. And this picture gives you a comparative analysis of Sensex versus fixed deposit, 5-year fixed deposit return, where it will be on a, if you have entered in a in a different scenario. And this is about gold. The gold return over a period of time. This shows you the best of the period of the gold rally. The worst of the gold rally was between 1980 to 2001, 2002. From 2003 onwards, gold started going up steadily, basically not because people started buying gold. It went up because in 2003, globally, today the largest gold ETF company called SPDR iShares launched the gold iShare. And the gold ETF was launched the first time in the world in 2003, and sooner we also followed, and we also launched the gold ETF in India later. So for every unit of gold ETF, they buy, it is backed up by gold, actual physical gold, which is kept in a vault, safety vault. In fact, if you go to SPDR iShares website, you can see the bar numbers, the pictures of the vault, and auditor certified statement of gold bars every 6 months. So the people who don't believe in gold as an ornament, but who believe it as an asset class, they started investing. The youngsters started investing in gold from 2003-04 onwards. That's why the gold price went up. And the economy started doing very well. They had a lot of forex reserve to hedge against the American dollar. They also, the country started, the central bank started buying gold. So that's why gold went up. The gold's longest rally was between 2003 to 2011. Even when the stock market came down in 2008, gold went up to 2011, 12. From 2013, it crashed. 2014, it came down. 2015 again. I mean, 14 it slightly went up, but 2015 it came down. And as you could see that the gold price in India has not come down much generally by and large, basically because, not because the gold price went up during that 1980 to 2000 period, basically because the dollar value went up. Because we import gold and we pay in dollar, and the dollar value went up, so the gold price went up in India. So it is actually the dollar which went up than the gold in India. You can see the split or the breakup in kitco.com website. This is a 1980 to 2001 period where the gold price came down drastically. This is what I was mentioning. During oil crisis, 1980, the gold price touched a peak of $800, $850. From there, it came down to $285 in the year 2001. From $850, it came down to 1/3 of the price. Similarly, in 2011, 10 or 11, it touched a height of $1,850. From there, it came down to below $1,000. So around $1,100. Sorry, $1,100. So it lost 1/3, 33% in a matter of 3 years. So what you have to do is simply diversify within asset allocation. You have to diversify and allocate as per your age profile. 100 minus age rule. Please follow 100 minus age rule. You can also use 80 minus age rule or 90 minus age rule, whatever it is. But by and large, well accepted rule is 100 minus age rule. Depending upon your risk profile, you can increase the risk or reduce the risk. Allocate as per your risk profile, and very importantly, allocate to risky asset class based on your behavioral pattern. If you're not comfortable, if you're not mentally comfortable, if you're agitated when you see the market going up and coming down, you're not fit to be there, and don't take that kind of a risk, because you're bound to make mistakes when you're emotionally disturbed. It is better to be contented with it. There are two ways of becoming rich. One is earning more than our expense. Second is spending less than our earning. So that's also nothing wrong with it. Spending less than our earning is also not, in the world over, it is becoming popular to follow something called freeganism. Is a new concept. Buy nothing day is another concept which I keep propagating. These are all the concepts which are becoming in Europe and Canada, and even US also now. Post Thanksgiving Day, some of the smaller groups practice this. So you can, you need not be always Vijay Mallya to become rich. You can spend 1 rupee less than what you earn, you can be rich. So behavioral pattern is very important. Risk profile is very important. Psychological mental makeup is very important. And periodically review it and use a proper advisor as a sounding board. The advisor is like, I always say that he's like an uncle to your children. He's not a business contact like somebody else. Like chartered accountants. Chartered accountant is not a business contact for anybody, most of the clients. It's like this part of the family. So that's how an investment advisor also. Now, this is a practical working which I mentioned earlier in the beginning of the presentation, how to contain volatility, how to contain the risk and take advantage of the risk and take advantage of the volatility. This is the main point. Next 5-6 slides is the crux of the presentation or today's evening. We are going to see an example. If you have an investment of 1 lakh and you allocate 50,000 to stocks or index-based stocks and 50% to index funds, bank fixed deposit. What happens in different scenario from 2002 to 2017? I'm sorry, I've not updated the data for the last 2 years, but this is what is available. Remember this asset allocation is what we are going to follow. Now, look at this. Yeah. At the beginning of 2002, you have 1 lakh. You are investing 1 lakh in fixed deposit, 1 lakh in stocks. I'm sorry, 2 lakhs you have total. 1 lakh you invest in fixed deposit, 1 lakh in stocks. And you see the appreciation year after year, 2002, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you see the peak, 5,92,000 in the year 2007. The stocks have become 1 lakh invested in stocks has become 5,92,000 in the year 2007. In the same year, the 1 lakh you have invested in fixed deposit has become 1,46,933. Now you would have really regretted that I could have put this 1 lakh also into stock so that it would have become 12 lakhs approximately. Whereas you have only 7 lakhs or 7 lakh and odd. You lost 5 lakhs. But look at the beauty of asset, the next year. Your stocks 5,92,000 has become 2,84,320. Whereas your fixed deposit has become 1,58,687. Now this is without asset allocation. You are doing the asset allocation only at the initial period of time. At the time of you are not reallocating. That's a difference. We are going to see the next slide with reallocation, but this is without reallocation. Okay. At the end of 2017, after 15 years, the 1 lakh you have invested in stocks has become 9,92,078. The 1 lakh you have invested in fixed deposit has become 3,17,217. Now this is without asset allocation. Your 1 lakh in fixed deposit would have become 3 lakhs. Your 1 lakh in stocks would have become close to 10 lakhs. Okay. Now does it mean I have to invest everything in stocks? Now you have to revisit what happened in 2008. Your stocks has become 50% and whereas your fixed deposit has helped. Not only that year, I can quote many other years, earlier time, 94 or 96 or 97. This has happened. 2016, it has happened to some extent, December. But we have taken a little, the data is, it suppresses that particular 2 months. So you cannot go by this data fully. But by and large, this data is correct. And this is what would have happened. Look at a different scenario. Now, you are investing, instead of investing the entire 1 lakh into fixed deposit or entire 1 lakh into stocks, you are investing 50,000 in stocks and 50,000 in fixed deposit. What happens here? In the same year, 2007, when you look at it, the stocks 50,000 invested has become 2,96,000. Fixed deposit is 73,000. But next year, the 296 becomes 142. And 73 in fixed deposit continues to grow and become 79,000. And when you have in 2009, from 1,42,000, it has become 2,57,000. The 79,000 has become 85,000. Overall, when you look at it in 2017, your stocks 50,000 has become 4,96,000 and fixed deposit has become 1,58,000. Now again, this is without allocation, reallocation. Here you are investing the entire 1 lakh in either fixed deposit or stocks. Obviously, stocks look good, but we are not able to take risk. We don't have that kind of a mindset, so we go for an allocation. In the allocation, you are getting a lower return, 6,54,000. Total return is 6,54,000 because you have split 50-50. But here you have not done the reallocation, right? You have not removed the profit from a particular thing and reinvested in the other one. You have not done it. Now, when we do that, what happens? This is what happens. The same 6,54,000 becomes 6,87,000 or closer to 7 lakhs. Okay, it is slightly higher for 1 lakh. For 10 lakhs, it will be much more. And if the amount is bigger, it is much more. You are removing, that rebalancing. You are doing this. Every year, you are removing the profit from the stocks, investing it into fixed deposit. And if the stocks have fallen down, you look at this particular year, 2008, when the market fell down, you have reallocated 46,000 rupees. And you've taken out money from the fixed return instruments and you invested in equity when the market was low. So this is the beauty of this kind of asset allocation and thing. The advantages are it's a disciplined way of asset allocation, is a disciplined way of investing, and it acts as a self-control. People who don't have self-control go and invest all their money into stock market. When the going is good, it is fine, but beyond a point they lose. They borrow and invest to make up the loss, and then beyond it goes beyond out of control, and sometimes it leads to people committing suicide. It's very dangerous. So it's whereas in asset allocation it acts as a self-control. Whenever there are profits, we are booking. Whenever there are losses, you are taking money from fixed deposit and investing at a lower rate. So no room for emotions and no room for bias or any personal attachment to a particular stock or any asset class. It's purely Excel sheet based and it is purely mathematical template based. It controls the excesses in anything. It smoothens the returns and takes advantage of the volatility. It smoothens the risk, it smoothens the volatility and takes advantage of it. Now this makes the trend your friend. It makes the risk your friend. It makes the volatility your friend. Volatility is not against you. In fact, it is in favor of you. That's how the asset allocation beautifully handles the risk part of it. Now, there are certain limitations to asset allocation too. Sometimes, how often do you review? And what is the ideal asset allocation? And it works best in volatile market. In flat market, doesn't work much. The incremental returns are not all that high. And sometimes you miss out the best opportunities in a major bull market, like what happened in 2009 or 2017-18 or now. You miss out on it when you go for an asset allocation. You don't miss out completely, but you miss out the major part of it. And it is best ideally restricted to the index funds than going in for your choice of stocks. Don't go for your choice of stocks if you're going for asset allocation and investment. Before concluding, some of the do's and don'ts I want to say, no hasty decision making. Opportunities keep coming. Like I said, every negative news is a positive news in India. India is a land full of opportunities. It is up to us to make use of it. Remember always this, whenever you see a negative news, think of 1988, what happened to after 92, 94, 2000, 2008, 2014, 2016, and again 2020. There are about 8 or 9 or 10 opportunities in the last 30 years. Once in every 3-4 years, we keep getting tremendous, very big opportunities, and we get smaller opportunities intermittently. It is enough if you make use of these opportunities without losing it. Meanwhile, what to do? Go for SIP. when you get such kind of opportunities, you can go for lump sum investments. So that's how things can be handled, and never buy based on tips alone. What happens when you buy based on tips alone? I gave this interesting business model to someone in a lighter vein, who asked me that whether he can go and invest based on tips alone. You advertise in a local news daily, saying that you want investment tips by SMS. Every day 8:45, I'll give you 3 a stock to buy or sell, and you tell them it is free of cost for the first 3 days, and you will get about 10,000 people asking for the tips. You send 5,000 to 5,000 people, you send sell ITC, and another 5,000 people you send them buy ITC. At the end of the day, one will be happy, right? If the ITC has gone up, the one who has bought will be happy. If it has come down, the one who has sold will be happy. Let's assume that ITC has gone up, and next day you remove that 5,000 people to whom you sent sell ITC. Next day you send SMS only to those people who bought ITC yesterday. Split them again into 2,500, 2,500. Tell them that buy ACC, and another 2,500 sell ACC. Third day you choose 1,250 and 1,250, and send an SMS. Tell them that pay 10,000 rupees, you will get the tips. Most likely that you will get the 10,000 rupees from almost 1,000 of them, because 3 days it has worked, your tips, but only you know how the tips has worked. So this is so most of the time it is very misleading, and never ever look at only the tips. Always go for research reports. People ask me what is the best thing to study. The best thing to study is the annual report. A lot of things are hidden, a lot of things are there, and study the annual report and do the ratio analysis. Balance sheet based ratios are there, profit and loss account based ratios are there, efficiency ratios are there, market valuation ratios are there. Collect data, research, analyze, and be like a Sherlock Holmes. In fact, there is a book by that name. So invest like a Sherlock Holmes. What is the difference between Sherlock Holmes and others? He finds out, he notices what others don't notice. You can be successful in the market if you notice something which others don't notice. The problem with some of us is that chartered accountants, we notice what others don't notice much earlier than others. But we doubt ourselves. Why others have not noticed it? Why others have not taken action against it? Why they have not bought that particular share? It looks very good. And we spend a lot of time in finding out logic, reason, whereas the smart people, the moment they notice it, they go and buy it. And that's where we miss out on it. And with a conviction, you have to buy or invest. Understand the business, even for FDs. Many people used to tell me that, sir, I've invested in fixed deposit. It's the safest. I don't want stock markets. Then when I asked them where you have invested, I invested in DHFL fixed deposit. I still remember one of my working friends used to thank me for cautioning me to withdraw the fixed deposit. So fixed deposit means, it does not mean that it is safe. Similarly, many people have the misnomer, the misunderstanding that a bond-based or debt-based or credit mutual fund is safer than equity-based mutual fund. To my knowledge, hardly a few stocks have become zero, but the bonds or the debentures, when the company defaults, it becomes zero. There is no way in between. The 1,000 does not become 800 or 700. It becomes zero when they default. That's all. And one of the biggest things that happened in the recent past is that one of the largest mutual fund company, the credit risk fund, caused a lot of problem, lot of anxiety among the investors' mindset. They are slowly coming out of it now. I don't want to create panic among the people, but avoid concentrated portfolio risk. The biggest risk to any portfolio is concentration risk. Avoid that by diversifying. And the greedy buying and panic selling are sure way to wealth destroying. If you want to destroy your wealth, do this. If you want to create wealth, you have to be, when everybody is panic, you have to be greedy. Never borrow and invest. Invest only your surplus. Start early. Use the power of compounding, and invest for long term. When I say long term, it is minimum 8 to 10 year time frame, not income tax long term. And take calculated risk as per your age and risk profile, and inflation proof your investments, and tax efficient, and go for SIP in index funds and hybrid funds and diversified funds. It's a combination of various funds, and ELSS is one of the ideal investment if you are young. If you're below 35, 40 or 45, ideal way is ELSS than anything else because it has got the shortest investment cycle than any other investment, 3 years. From the 4th year onwards, you can keep on recycling it. Even if you don't have money, you can avail the tax benefit by recycling that ELSS mutual fund, tax saving fund. And please remember, no magazine, no business channel recommends systematic withdrawal plan or systematic transfer plan. It is important how SIP is important or how lump sum investment is important during panic times. It is also important to withdraw the profits partially, remove the foam or the froth, and put it into, remove it from the risky asset class, put it in the safe asset class when the going is good. Don't wait for the, follow the 20% rule. Never wait. If you're expecting an investment to touch 100%, get out at 80% itself. Leave something on the table for somebody else. Let him make the profit. Don't wait for that 100 rupees because you may not get that 100 rupees. Similarly, when you want to buy, don't wait for that 20 rupees. If it reaches 40 rupees also, you can buy. Start buying it and average down. So systematic withdrawal plan is very important. Systematic transfer plan is very important. Asset allocation is the key. And repeatedly I mentioned this. That is the only way to control the periodically review and consult your audit. And I just want to talk about why you have to go for asset allocation here. I'll touch upon, we have time. I think maybe we can go for a Q&A. I'll finish this and we'll go for a Q&A. Now, I mentioned that, the way to, look at the way we gain the volatility or the risk in the market. If there is no risk in the market, if there is no volatility in the market, believe me, people like me will never come to the market. Not only me, many of us will never come to the market. We are there in the market because there is risk, because there is volatility. Okay, so, and which side of volatility we are, which side of risk we are there, that is a very important part. To understand that, you have to understand something like quantitative cycle, the cycle. Quantitative is a Russian economist who predicted about the 40-year cycle. Now the cycle is becoming shorter and shorter, 30-year, 20-year, 10-year, now 8-year cycle, the people keep selling. So understand the cycle and try to participate in the cycle, and the asset allocation helps us to participate in the cycle. For example, gold had a rally from 2003 to 2011 and had a negative rally from 2011 to 2018. So if you had an asset allocation, you would have bought gold before 2003, 2004 and sold it from 2009 to 2010, 11. And you would have again bought it in 2011, 12, 13, 14, and you would have sold it now in 2019, 20, right? And during that period, stock market came down or stock market went up during certain period. So you would have invested in stock market, from 2011 to 2015, gold came down, you would have invested in gold. And the stock market came down between that period, 2016, 17, you would have invested in stock markets. So in different cycle, different product investment class has different cycle, you would have invested in it. That's what that cycle mentions about it, business cycles are there. So you have to read a lot of books. I'll be suggesting a few books which I like. It's not exhaustive or a comprehensive list. Some of you would have read these books, but then for those who have not read it or the students who have joined, I will recommend those books, strongly recommend those books and business magazines or journals. Keep watching a lot of, YouTube content is available free of cost today, and observe a lot of successful people around you, what they do. We need not always look at Warren Buffett. We need not even look at Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. Just look at one of the dullest investors around you who had made big money. I have noticed some of the big investors in the market, they made big money, but they don't look very interesting. They don't make even interesting conversation. Some of the boring conversations I ever had with them, with such kind of people who have made a lot of money. So if you want excitement and you want the market to be interesting, remember it costs. It's like a movie. You spend money. That's all you lose. You don't get anything. But if you want to make money, it may be boring, but then you can make money. Watch a lot of business channels and YouTube and watch successful people around you. A lot of interesting websites and blogs are there. Seeking Alpha is one of the very interesting websites if you are tracking international markets. Seeking Alpha it's a must. And locally, Equity Master or many other good blogs are there. You can read those blogs. And a lot of interesting podcasts are available in Spotify and other apps you can download. If you have not downloaded, you can listen to those podcasts in your morning walks or evening walks. if I happen to go for a walk in the evening, I always listen to Market Mantra in FM Gold between 6:30 to 7. It's a bilingual on the today's happenings in the commodities, currency, and stock markets in Hindi and English. So keep on. It should be a part of you. If we think that making money or handling volatility or risk is a subject taught in school, then it's going to be painful. If you're passionate about it, it's going to be interesting. So what should we read? If you're in the Indian context, the simplest book, even in somebody who's done a +2 can understand, is In the Wonderland of Investments by A.N. Shanbhag. It's a 30-year-old book. I keep reading it every year. They come out with a new edition. I keep reading it. It's the simplest book. It's nothing complicated. It talks about all types of investments, not only tax planning, various other investments. Conceptually, if you want to change your mind, and this is the best book, I would say that Robert Kiyosaki. I always assume, or I suspect that Robert Kiyosaki has come to India and observed some of the communities in India, observed them and written their habits as Rich Dad Poor Dad, because this is what we follow, many of us in India, but we used to follow, not anymore. So read this book. Some of the book which have been released last year, The Psychology of Money, is written by Morgan Housel. Morgan Housel is an interesting columnist in motleyfool.com or fool.com website. He used to write regularly on that website, and some of the collection of his articles are published. He writes a lot about psychology and how the wealth creation happens during that, using that. And Mastering the Market Cycle is written by Howard Marks of Oaktree Capital. The person who runs Oaktree Capital, his newsletters are very popular. The newsletters are available in Oaktree Capital website. He's the one who predicted last year, January, that the markets are going to crash, and which happened in March, of course, because of COVID, but I don't know, somehow he predicted it earlier. And COVID was not there. I don't know what would have happened to the market, but he predicted it. So he talks about, I spoke about the various cycles of different asset classes and how to take advantage of that. He talks about such market cycles and how you can take advantage of those cycles by participating in them at different levels. And these two books are very interesting books. It makes, I can suggest Benjamin Graham or Value Investing and all, but it could be a boring book for many. So these are all books which makes interesting reading. Again, nothing to do with numbers, because you're all very good with numbers. This is mostly to do with psychology and behavioral pattern. Fooled by Randomness by Nicholas Taleb is an interesting book. And he has written a couple of other books also. It's available as a bundle. Black Swan, and one more book he has written. Skin in the Game, if I'm right, or Fragile, Anti-Fragile. And Dan Ariely is one interesting author who has written a series of books, but the best being, the Predictably Irrational. And then the next book is, The Upside of Irrationality. He has also written a couple of other books, but, The Honest Truth About Dishonesty is one such book. But most of these authors, once their book is successful, they keep writing something similar about it to take advantage of it. So the first book, the book is the best book. The Predictably Irrational and Fooled by Randomness is, I would suggest. And Daniel Kahneman is a Nobel laureate, and in fact, he has won a Nobel Prize for this concept, on his behavioral finance. Thinking Fast and Slow is a very interesting book, and a major, the bestseller. And Nudge, again, is written by a Nobel laureate, Richard Thaler. Last year, he won a Nobel Prize because of this concept called Nudge. In fact, our chief economic advisor mentions about this concept of nudge in the last year economic survey. He mentions about this, how we are all nudged to take certain decisions. For example, the pizza people, they have a concept called large size, medium, and small. And the small, the medium should be double of small, and large should be double of medium. But it doesn't happen that way. The medium is not really medium, it is smaller than it should be. Because they know that psychologically people order medium. Most of us order medium size. We are all nudged to order medium, and they make profit out of that. So a lot of illustrative examples are given in this book. And in Indian context, if you look at behavioral finance, is one of the best books with Indian examples, live examples, is Value Investing by Parag Parikh is no more. And Parag Parikh is the founder of Parag Parikh, PPFAS mutual fund, one of the best mutual fund, because he said for every category of mutual fund, category of fund, I'll have only one fund, not 2-3 funds like other funds, other AMCs. I'll have only one fund, because if it is good, I should have only one fund. And he also said that skin in the game. Every one of the employees contribute, part of the contribution will go into this fund of their own AMC, their employees will invest. So it's one of the best books you can read. And of course, there is some takeaway not for you, but mostly for your children, for the school. You can go to RBI's website. You can download this FAME series booklets, free of cost. They call it FLAME series, and it is available. Financial literacy series for senior citizens, for school children, for college children, for entrepreneurs, for various set of people, about financial planning, about money, about investments, and what is a bank, what is money, what is Reserve Bank, what is a banking, what is a demand draft, what is a credit card, how do you handle it? All those things are explained in various books like this, in using comics or cartoons like this, and it's available free of cost. And like this. This is available in IRDS website. If you go to IRDS website, it goes to the academic educational link. And this teaches about what is a term policy, what is a ULIP, what are the different types of insurance policies available, and what is a why do we call it annuity, what is a premium. All those things are explained in simple language there. And this can be taught to children. There are many things in it for us to learn. And finally, to conclude, I would say that to be a superior investor, you have to think differently than others. If we keep on thinking about what everybody else thinking, and if we act like everyone else, then our performance also will be the same. So we have to think differently, and that's what Howard Marks say of Oaktree Capital says. And this is what I mentioned about the pocket money course meant for school children of 11th standard or 12th standard or 8th, from 8th to 9th standard. This is available in Tamil also. You can download it from NISM website or SEBI website, investor.sebi.gov.in. I'll share the website later. You can give it to the school children. And if any one of you want to do this event, please let me know. You can mail me. Most of this material is available in the first website, investor.sebi.gov.in website. You can go to their website and download this. NCFE, that is National Center for Financial Education in India, that is run by 4 regulators: PFRDA, RBI, IRDA, and RBI. Jointly, they floated this company basically for financial literacy among common man, a common citizen. Somebody who wants to know how to take money, withdraw money using your ATM card. There is a PowerPoint presentation there in this website. I can proudly say that I translated as a pro bono job for NCFA India the content in Tamil. Unfortunately, they have not used the right font, but still it is available there in Tamil. The Tamil is the 3rd language they used apart from Hindi and English, and now it is available in Gujarati and a couple of other languages also. The investor website, that pocket money is available. The pocket money was translated into Tamil by my brother, late Ramanathan, and supervised, corrected by me, and we did it. These are the books. Epporul Yararvai Ketpinam, Apporul Meipporul Kanbadirivu, which means that whatever you hear, even this 1.5 hours or 2 hours lecture by me, don't believe me, distrust me. You do your own homework and come to a conclusion, because it's after all your money and you're responsible for it, not me. So, and as I promised, we will keep this possible. If any one of you want to do any such program in Madurai, please let me know. I have my friend stationed in Madurai. He's a professor in a college in Madurai. He's a SEBI trained resource person, and he'll be happy to come and handle the session for the school teachers or college teachers in any government college or institution. Please let me know. We'll be very happy to do this at free of cost. And I would like to thank the ICAI for the opportunity given to me.
We have a couple of questions.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Speaker, sir,
Yeah.
for sharing your rich knowledge on the capital market subject with a lucid explanation, sir.
Yeah.
It is very useful to our members, sir. Now the floor is open for discussion.
So there are a couple of questions in the chat box. Shall I read it out, sir?
Yeah.
Yeah. Question from CA Muridharan, sir.
Yeah, I can read it. Yeah, I think we have growth and opportunities. One is blue chip, another is not blue chip now, but has all the potentials to become blue chip, called as multi-baggers. Like 30 to 40 years back, Infosys or Wipro or HDFC were not blue chips, but they were growth stocks, but now they are blue chips. You need insight, growth potentials of business and quality of management. How to get there? Is it only out of someone's advice? I think this is a very, very interesting question, for which somebody in the market for the last 3 decades, people like me, finding it difficult to find an answer. Okay, that's an honest answer. But then there are some methodologies which we follow, we use. One is like by creating a like-minded set of people, a group of like-minded set of people who keep on meeting either in person or virtually, and keep discussing about new concepts, new ideas, new thought process, what is happening in the market, what I don't. For example, there is something called Clubhouse. I don't know how many of you are there in Clubhouse. That's a new app. Anything comes new, I just go and try. If I'm not happy with it about next 30 days, I get out of it. It simply fills up your phone. But Clubhouse seems to be quite useful because it's like having your own FM radio, or 2 or 3 like-minded people having your own FM radio. You have listeners, audience asking you questions, or you talk, and it is like a Zoom, Zoom without video. Same like what we are doing right now, but without video. That's all. So it consumes less bandwidth, and your phone doesn't get heated up. You can keep on talking a lot, and particularly Friday evening or Saturday evening, if you're a Ilayaraja fan or MSV fan, you can keep on listening to a lot of such things. Weekdays, I keep listening to a lot of something related to the markets, all those things, discussing globally and in India. So create like-minded people as a small group. I've been telling this, if I'll be very happy if Madurai unit takes, some of you takes an initiative in forming a Madurai Investor Association, and we can check with the Tyagaraja College or one of the college to provide us, one Saturday evening a space to discuss, or your institute itself will have a place to discuss, provide a meeting place for them, for the investors to meet and discuss. See, that is one way. Second is keep reading a lot, not only through books, but also through various other medias, interacting with people. For example, learning never stops for people like us, you and me. You have CPE, I do have this course. I remember 5 years back, I got myself admitted in a course in Flame University in Pune. The first course was 4-day course on behavioral finance by Professor Sanjay Bakshi. And then there was a 1 week or 5-day, strictly speaking, 6-day course on value investing. It's a residential course. You have to stay in Flame University for about a week. And the class starts at 9 o'clock in the morning. You have your breakfast at 8:30, go to the class. Sit with somebody who's 63-year-old, who's a CFO of RPG Group, sitting next to me. There is 23-year-old guy sitting next to me on the other side. And behind me, there was a guy who I don't want to mention his name. And he is an investor in the market, and his investment is worth about 500 crores. He's also sitting there to learn along with me. So that is a kind of, just learning, and the classes go on, there is a break at 11 o'clock, 11:15, and then 1:30 break, and 2 o'clock again starts, 4:30 break, and then it starts at 5 o'clock and goes on till 7:30. Post lunch, they keep the university auditorium, open air auditorium is there. They keep it open till midnight with coffee and snacks. It is run by Nimisha of Enam Securities. So I had the opportunity of meeting who's who, Rakesh Jhunjhunwala's partner. I met Mr. Damani. I met so many people in person. I learned a lot. In fact, 2 or 3 people who came from Tamil Nadu asked me that, whether I am going to handle the class. I said, I am there along with you to learn. So learning is very important. We keep learning. That's how we identify many of those things. We do make mistakes. And if you buy 10 stocks, not all the 10 are going to be multi-baggers. 2 or 3 may be multi-baggers. You may lose in 5 or 6. And 2 or 3 may be like ITC. It may not give return. It may not go negative also. So that's how you have a portfolio. That's why I keep telling that asset allocation. And one more thing I forgot to mention is that you keep interacting with someone who is less than half your age. I use an opportunity to, whenever people come to intern in my office from Trichy or Madurai or other places, or from Loyola, they used to send some people to intern. And I keep telling them, I don't know how much you learn from you, but at the end of the time, 3 months or 4 months, I can tell you what I learned from you. And irrespective of where they come from, I keep learning from them. From youngsters, you can learn a lot. For example, I wanted to do something on my own and learn on how to prepare a poster or something which they post on Instagram. So somebody who came from Trichy, a young girl who taught me that, sir, there is an app called Canva. So you can go and do it on your own. This was a couple of years back. So we learn a lot from youngsters also. So now who is, when somebody tells us that Swiggy, now who is promoting that? Whether are they going to come out with a public issue? What is the business concept? You would have laughed at Swiggy when the concept was told to us 3 years back or 5 years back. Today it has become an order of the day. So that's how we do that. And the next question is, sir, does SEBI NSE mandate cash for span exposure margin even after pledge of securities much above margin requirements after haircut? What is the correct position? See, I am no more involved with the day-to-day operations of our broking entity. But as far as I remember, I can tell you very clearly that I don't think they have a ratio of a certain percentage as cash and certain percentage as stocks for the brokers, but not for the clients. At client level, the client can maintain stocks with enough haircut margin. That's what I understand. With my little experience, I've lost touch with the back office process as of now, and I don't trade in derivatives anymore. I learned it only for the purpose of writing a book. I did it actually to write a book, but after that, I've stopped doing anything in derivatives. In your opinion, does companies in artificial intelligence will be the future blue chips? That is, can they be considered as multi-baggers now? I think certainly yes. Artificial intelligence, those companies are going to do extremely well, and not only there, the biotech companies can do extremely well, and the companies in various other related sectors can do well. But the challenge is today, how do you ride that wave? In 90s, when the companies had a new project on hand, they used to come out with IPOs. And even before the project is started, they used to come out with IPOs, and they used to come out on par value or at a nominal premium if the company is like operational and a new company. But nowadays, that concept has gone. The company at a startup they go only for angel fund, and second level they go for venture capital, and third level they go for series 1 funding, series 2, all those series A fundings and all. And by the time they come out with public issue, they come out after a stock split or whatever heavy premium. There is nothing left much on the table for many of us in most of the cases. There is still some good companies. So when you identify such companies, good companies, they are all startups which are not in the listed space. So you have to go to unlisted space. And unlisted space, there are mutual funds who are PMS, which is listed in unlisted space, very highly risky, and the ticket size is big. Minimum size is a few crores. So that's the challenge. How you will love, for example, EV, electric vehicle. You want to ride, only you can do proxy ride. You can ride, probably you can buy Excite battery or Amaraja battery or Ashok Leyland or something like that. But you cannot directly invest in many such companies today. Okay, Tesla is not available in India. So that is the problem. Purely academic, can you say any present blue chip which will repeat its past 25 years valuation in the next 25 years also? Just got a gut feeling. See, I probably, I would have given such examples 20 years back for two reasons. One, I was naive. So I would have, the market, I was overconfident also at that age. But 30 years in market makes you more cautious. It makes you humble, and it brings in humility to tell you that I don't know. I can tell you that I don't know. That is the humility market teaches you, market tells you. Many times we tried predicting the markets and we have failed. What we do is we try to rebalance, do the asset allocation and get a better return than the inflation and the benchmark return. We have never able to beat many others in the market by getting 80% return or 60% return. So that is something. So it's very difficult to identify such multi-baggers, and because the reason is things. The second reason I said, one is I said I was naive. Second, and I've become now humble or humility. The second reason is the technology changes very fast. 10 years back, I would have told you Moser Bayer is, nobody is going to store in the old floppy drive. People are going, the people are going to store in CD-ROM. So go for Moser Bayer. It will be a multi-bagger. 15 years back, I would have told you that. But then within 5 years, Moser Bayer collapsed. From 350 rupees, it came down to 7 rupees or 3 rupees or whatever it is. Today it is, I don't know whether it is even traded. So technology changes very fast. So it's very difficult to tell you a multi-bagger today because of such fast, quick technology changes. Anything else? I think I've answered.
Sir, how,
Yeah.
sir, how will the market go, sir?
Sorry?
How will the market goes? It does not take into account the COVID-19 second wave.
Yeah. Okay. Before that, there is one question on the asset allocation. Yeah, certainly. I think that is a very valid point I also made. If you go by asset allocation, we would have certainly missed the wealth creation offered by a multi-bagger like Wipro or Infosys or TCS or Divi's Lab or Dr. Reddy's Lab. Certainly, no doubt about it. But are we capable of identifying that? If you are capable of identifying that, and if you are willing to take that risk also, no point. I mean, there is a valid point in going for that. But most of us are full-time professionals into some other profession. We don't track what is happening in the market on a day-to-day basis. And hence, it will be very difficult to track the technological changes, what is happening, fast changes which is happening, regulatory issues which are cropping up, and all those things. So that is the reason I mentioned that asset allocation is not the best solution. The best solution is you identify a multi-bagger and go for it. Go for the kill. I know many investors, full-time investors, who invest only in 5 or 6 stocks or 10 stocks. They don't put their money 1 rupee in fixed deposit or mutual fund or real estate. The top 3 investors in South India, entire South India, are in Chennai, and none of them are South India. I mean, South Indians, I can tell you that, but they are in Chennai, and they don't invest in real estate except the house where they stay in their office. The several hundred crores of investment are in stocks, and in a handful of stocks or 5-6 stocks. You go to ratestar.in, you can see the entire data. I don't want to mention the names. Okay, but do we have that kind of a reach? These are the people who can call that particular company's CFO and ask them for certain details. I mean, not public detail. No, they can ask for an appointment as an analyst meet. They can go and meet them. We don't draw that kind of a power. So we have to be careful. It is not an insider trading I'm mentioning. It is a analyst meet or what you can do. So I very clearly mentioned asset allocation is not the best solution, but it is the ideal solution. Given that I am busy, given that I don't have much of a time or knowledge to concentrate full time on this, it is better. Okay. Any tools for stock selection, entry, exit levels? If so, it is a technical tools. A lot of tools are available. If you are a short-term trader, trading is not a crime, provided you have strict stop loss and trade. I don't have a F&O terminal in my office. Okay, except in one of the branches, we don't have it. So I don't. So it's not that I don't believe in it. I don't have time for it. It needs full-time concentration. You have to follow certain charts, patterns. It doesn't lie. My friend, is a chartered accountant, Sriram Balasubramaniam from, is in Chennai, but he hails from Salem, Nagappan. As a chartered accountant, he always, swears, you just give me the chart. Don't give me what stock it is. I'll tell you whether to enter or exit. So there are techniques available. There are people, NSE Academy is taking classes on it. You can look at NSE Academy's website. Now, with a lot of regulatory changes and IBC in place, will banks be the best bet for future, or is it home finance, microfinance companies, or gold loan companies? Gold loan company certainly is a good company. Coming from a community which flourished by that business, I can tell you that it is certainly a good business backed up by good asset class. Technology has improved to a level that today you can manage the branches wherever you are. You can monitor the branches. You can monitor the gold stored there. You can insure them. A lot of facilities are available. Certainly, they'll be good. And housing finance companies are even better because the Act safeguards them. So go for that is also good. And but in both, I don't find great value in it. Today, I find great value in PSU banks. Still, in spite of most of them have doubled in the last 1 year or something, I still find a lot of great value in them. I'm not suggesting go for it at one go. Go for a systematic, invest it in 5 or 6 times over the next 6 months period. You will still it is not the bottom. You may still see some negative news coming in, But then it is the end of the negative news, and it's going to be positive over a period of next 1 or 2 years. I think we are at the back end of it. And at that time, you will not get this kind of a value in most of the PSU stocks or PSU oil companies or PSU banks. I want to conclude. I think I have only 1 minute. I'll conclude about the valuation of the market. Somebody asked me. I am not comfortable with the current valuation of the market because I personally feel that this kind of the valuation is not supported by the fundamentals. I'm not saying economy is bad. Economy is not as bad as we expected it to be last year. It is far better than what we expected. But it is not justifying this kind of a valuation. So you have to draw a line somewhere. Last year the PE was 18, this year it is 30 plus. So market is valued very high. The price to book is 4. Nifty price to book is more than 4 times. I find value only when it is around 2, 2.5. That itself is high, but then it is okay for such companies. But it is 4. The dividend yield is somewhere around 1.1 or 1.15. It used to be 1.5, 1.6 when the valuation is very good. So in all the parameters, when you look at it, the market is at a high. But whether it will come down or crash or anything, I don't know. I really don't know. I've been lightening my position. I've been selling for the last 6 months. I've been proved wrong. I don't mind being proved wrong. But I've been lightening my positions in various stocks, including pharma, which I always consider bullish. Last 1-2 years back, I considered pharma. When everybody ignored pharma and IT, I was investing in pharma and IT. Today, I'm reducing my position in pharma and IT. I'm looking at public sector companies, which is ignored by many people. I tweeted it in November about public sector companies when PSU B's ETF was trading at 15 rupees. Today, it is 28 rupees, 27 rupees. PSU Bank B's was 15.5. I've tweeted it is there in my tweet in Diwali time. Now it is about 26 or 27. It has given 50-60% return. So public sector companies still have a long way to go for the kind of the book value, for the kind of the land bank they have. If government tries to monetize it, to raise resources to monetize their fiscal deficit by forming a special purpose vehicle and hiving off lands which runs into several thousand acres. In Tamil Nadu, TNPL is, the government has given 3,500 acres of land to TNPL, temple land to TNPL, to plant land, trees. And monetize. They're trying to 1/3 of revenue goes to them, to the temples, 15 temples. So similarly, every government can monetize that. So I am looking at that, but otherwise I'll be happy lightening my position and be in cash. Whether it is 1 year or 6 months or I don't know. I don't mind waiting for it. And thank you very much for the president and other office bearers of SIRC, Madurai chapter, and my good friend Mr. Jain and all other people. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Thank you once again, sir. So now I request Secretary Manimeli Madam to give vote of thanks.
I thank our Chairman CA Mohanasundram sir and our beloved ex officio member and past Chairman of SIRC CA DC Jain sir for getting us a session with Sri Nagappan sir on the topic managing risk and creating wealth. On behalf of Madurai branch, I thank you, sir, Sri CA Nagappan sir, for accepting our invitation to present us a session on investment awareness in spite of your busy schedule. Thank you very much, sir, for enlightening us on the topic managing risk and creating wealth in a more practical sense with examples, and also for sharing the books to be read and the websites to be referred to understand the investment strategy. Thank you, sir, again for your patient answering for our members' queries. Thank you, senior members and associate members, for your participation. Now, regarding our upcoming events of Madurai branch,
Thank you.
1st July. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. On 1st July, MBSIRC is organizing CA Day celebration in virtual mode as usual. We have planned for fun-filled events. On behalf of Managing Committee of Madurai branch, I invite all the members to join with family. The invitation and form for participation are being circulated in WhatsApp and email. We request all members to participate with family and have fun. Zoom joining link will be shared to all members on the day of the event. Secondly, the CPE on recent developments in GST by CA Rajendra Kumar sir, which was postponed due to unavoidable reasons, will now be held on Sunday, the 4th July at 11 a.m., requesting members to participate in the events and get benefited. I once again thank the speaker and all the members. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Now the meeting is